That night, while the rest of the crew rested, Thessar stayed awake in his quarters, going through old survey files. Something about the biological readings bothered him deeply. He needed answers, and if Command had records on this system, he intended to find them himself. He opened the deepest archive, searching for anything related to the two missing ships. Most of the files were locked, marked with old security clearance from decades ago. But one folder, badly damaged and barely readable, caught his attention. It belonged to the very first survey ship sent to this system, many years before. The file was mostly corrupted. Broken text, missing sections, gaps where entire reports should have been. But a few fragments remained. Thessar opened the surviving pages slowly. Most of it was standard survey language, coordinates, atmospheric data, basic notes about the planet's surface. Nothing unusual at first. Then he reached the final entry written by the ship's medical officer. The handwriting style, even translated into text, felt rushed, urgent. The entry described a strange incident. During a routine supply visit to the planet's orbit, a small animal had accidentally been brought aboard the ship, hidden inside a cargo container. It was nothing dangerous, just a simple stray dog, the kind of harmless creature humans kept as companions. The medical officer, curious, had examined the animal using standard scanning equipment. What he found shocked him. The animal had several old injuries, scars across its leg, a partially healed wound near its side. According to the medical officer's notes, these injuries should have taken weeks, maybe months, to heal completely, based on every species the survey had ever studied. But this animal's healing speed didn't match anything in their records. Whatever injury it had suffered seemed to have closed and repaired itself almost completely within days, not weeks. The officer's final written words before the file cut off completely sent a chill through Thessar as he read them quietly to himself. If their animals heal like this, what does that make the people who raise them? The file ended there. No further entries. No explanation, nothing. Thessar sat back, staring at the screen for a long moment. He thought about the drone's readings from earlier. The unusually fast healing, the high pain tolerance, numbers that made no sense compared to any other species in the galaxy. This wasn't a new discovery. The first ship decades ago had noticed the same thing. Not in the humans directly, but in something as simple as one of their animals. The next morning, Thessar called Vel and Brask into a private briefing. "I found part of the missing ship's final report," Thessar said, sharing the recovered file with them. Vel read through it quickly, his expression shifting from curiosity to concern. "Wait, this is about an animal, not even a person, and it healed that fast? That's what worries me," Thessar said. "If a simple animal heals like this, the humans themselves might be even more extreme." Brask frowned, thinking carefully. Maybe this is why the system labeled the planet hostile. Not weapons, not armies, just their biology. Something the survey's classification system has never had to measure before. Thessar nodded slowly. It was beginning to make sense piece by piece. The Galactic Survey's threat system had been built using data from hundreds of known species. Armor types, weapon technology, fleet sizes. But it had likely never accounted for a species whose own bodies acted like natural built-in weapons. Not through claws or strength, but through sheer durability. "If this is true," Vel said slowly, "then the danger isn't what they can build. It's what they can survive." The room stayed quiet for a moment as that thought settled in. Thessar looked back at the small planet, still glowing calmly on the main screen outside. From here it still looked harmless. Blue oceans, soft clouds, quiet cities glowing in the dark. But now, knowing what he knew, that calmness felt different, almost deceptive. "We need direct information," Thessar finally said. "Not just animal data. Not just old reports. We need actual contact if it can be done safely." Brask looked uneasy. "Direct contact? After 2 ships vanished here?" "I know the risk," Thessar said. "But guessing isn't enough anymore. If we're going to report the truth to Command, we need real answers, not just old fragments and frightened theories." Vel took a deep breath, his earlier excitement now replaced by careful determination. "So what's the plan, Captain?" Thessar looked at the blue planet one last time before answering. "We make contact," he said, carefully, quietly, "and we find out exactly what kind of beings we are truly dealing with." Outside, the hollow reach remained hidden among the asteroids, while inside, A new and far more dangerous mission had just begun, not a mission to fight an enemy, but to understand one that nobody in the galaxy had ever truly understood before. The decision had been made. Thessar would attempt direct contact, but carefully, without taking unnecessary risks. Instead of approaching the planet itself, he chose a smaller target, a research station the drone had detected in orbit above Earth, far less risky than landing on the surface itself. The hollow reach moved slowly out from the asteroid field, careful and quiet, approaching the station from a safe distance. Thessar sent a simple, peaceful signal ahead of them, requesting permission to dock. The crew waited anxiously for a response. A few tense minutes passed before a reply came through. Calm, clear, and surprisingly friendly. This is Maya Chen, lead engineer of Orbital Research Station 7. We've received your signal. You're welcome to dock as long as your intentions are peaceful. Vel glanced at Thessar, surprised. That was easy. Thessar nodded slowly, still cautious. Let's not assume anything yet. The ship docked carefully in a small team. Thessar, Vel, and Brask prepared to meet the humans face-to-face for the first time. When the airlock opened, they expected tension, fear, maybe even hostility. Given everything they had learned so far, instead, they found a woman standing calmly near the entrance, smiling with two other crew members behind her. Maya looked completely unbothered by the presence of alien visitors. Welcome aboard, she said simply. Would you like some coffee? It's not great, but it's hot. Thessar blinked, momentarily caught off guard. In his years of survey missions, first encounters were rarely this calm, rarely this casual. You're not afraid of us? Brask asked carefully. Maya shrugged. Should I be? You knocked first. That's more polite than most visitors we get. The conversation that followed was surprisingly normal. Maya answered questions about her station, her work, daily life. She joked easily, laughed at her own mistakes, and treated the alien visitors more like curious guests than dangerous outsiders. For Thessar, this calmness was almost more unsettling than open hostility would have been. His crew had no framework for a species this relaxed, especially one flagged as a serious threat by their own systems. Then, without warning, the situation shifted. A loud metallic groan echoed through the station. A heavy support beam, weakened by long-term wear, suddenly gave way above a maintenance corridor. It crashed downward, pinning one of the human crew members beneath its weight. Chaos broke out for a brief moment. Shouting, sudden movement, the crew member crying out in pain. But what happened next stunned the alien visitors completely. Without panic, without hesitation, 3 human crew members rushed forward immediately. Working together, straining hard, they lifted the heavy beam just enough to pull their trapped crewmate free. One of the rescuers, a man with a deep gash along his forearm from the sharp edge of the beam, looked down at his own wound, blood already soaking through his sleeve, and simply said, "I'll deal with it in a minute," before turning back to help steady his injured friend. Brask, the ship's tactical officer, stared in disbelief. That injury, by every scan we've taken, that should have caused him to collapse from shock. Maya glanced over, almost casual about the whole situation. Dave's tough. He'll be fine. We've all had worse. Thessar exchanged a quiet glance with Vel. Neither of them said anything yet, but both were thinking the same thing. The strange medical readings, the old reports about animals healing too fast, the years-old warning buried deep in survey records. It was all connecting piece by piece right in front of them. Later, once the injured man had been treated, quickly and without much fuss, Thessar requested something carefully, almost hesitantly. Would it be possible, he asked Maya, to perform a basic medical scan? Strictly for research purposes. Maya raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. You want to study us? Yes, Thessar admitted honestly. We've encountered readings about your species that don't match anything we've seen before. Maya considered this for a moment, then shrugged again. Sure, why not? Just don't probe anyone without asking first. As the scan results began processing, Thessar felt a strange mix of curiosity and growing unease. Every interaction with these humans defied his expectations, calm under pressure, casual about pain, quick to act without fear. He thought back to the old medical file describing the dog's unnatural healing rate. If a simple companion animal could heal that fast, What would a full medical scan reveal about the humans themselves? As the data slowly populated across his screen, Thessar realized this moment would change everything he understood about the Galactic Survey's original warning. This wasn't a threat built from weapons or war. This was something far stranger, and far more important to understand correctly. Before any other ship made the same mistake the first two survey teams had clearly made.